here in studio, we have a special guest. Did you ever think, I know some may be acquainted with digital farming, but I'm also, like many, here to learn about what that is about. And of course, we've got in studio Gilbert Muponda, who is a digital farmer, an urban farmer. Welcome to the show. How are you doing this morning?
I'm all right, thanks, and you. Thank you very much for having me today.
Right, and of course you addressed the part.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe what's with farmers and khakis? Maybe it's the only color because you deal with the soil, dirt, and etc. Is that it?
Yeah,
or,
because
or
since
I'm
we're
wrong.
stewards of the land, right?
Yeah.
This color is actually friendly to the animals, and it's actually viable in the field because we play with dirt, so it actually blends in with the type of work we do.
Right. So there we go.
Yeah.
That's another strand that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. Now, getting straight into the conversation, I know you did graduate from Blackford College of Agriculture. Now, tell me, what inspired you to pursue career into urban farming? What inspired you to do that? Was it because maybe you saw that it could be done in the urban areas, or it could be done better? What was that about?
So when I was young, right, I used to do agriculture in high school. Then I actually noticed, one what more strawberry. That's when I was like, no, let me get into this field because agriculture is something that does not phase out. People eat every day, so this means that you can make money every day.
Every day.
So talking about generational wealth, this is the way to go, and that was the career I had to choose.
Right. So people eat every day, so which means that there's someone who's going to be producing what it is that they eat,
Yes.
and you chose to be that person.
Yes.
Right. Now, tell me, how did you go about it? Your steps into the field. Yes, you made the decision that, you know what, I'm gonna make money in agriculture, and I'm gonna of course build towards generational wealth. But how did you then take your first steps into the field?
So I first talked to stakeholders in the agriculture sector. I talked to a few farmers and recent graduates. So my friend then influenced me like, no, let's go to Blackford College of Agriculture. Personally, myself, I was a person that wanted to finish school early. So I was like, Blackford is 2 years, the diploma. So, and then you learn all aspects from agriculture, business management, farm mechanics, and animal production and crop production. And I say that, let me go there. When I went there, I was a bit shy. At 19 years, my other peers were pursuing software engineering, and so people used to laugh at me. So there's a other side of agriculture that I saw there.
It appeared as though Mdumeni is looked down upon.
Looked down, yeah. Agriculture is looked at as an old man's job. So when I went there, when we used to do practicals, so it used to be really fun, whereby it was another side of life I hadn't seen. So I was like, let me start taking videos about this and explaining what we do. So the more I made videos, the more it became comfortable to me to call myself a farmer. Right. So my other peers started liking this. So eventually, through consistency and patience, I then actually got to grasp the aspect and actually call myself a farmer.
Right. Now, I want you to let's talk about why do you think that it is important for people to practice, or rather venture into urban farming? Like, for instance, if I'm going to give you an example, farming in Belvedere, just here.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
So first of all, it's actually profitable, farming in urban areas. Why we're saying this, we're saying that there's a lot of movement in the CBD, so people don't have time to go really far. So why don't you produce near for people? So we're saying that produce for the market, do not market your produce. So this means that if you're going to produce for a certain market, they're definitely going to buy, because people are not willing to travel very far. You bring the product to them, because it's all about the customers and the consumers. It's not all about yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So the market is nearby. It's
Nearby.
within proximity.
Yes.
So produce for that instead of having the same people going traveling as far as, I don't know, Msarabani,
Yeah.
like you alluded to go and get the same produce that you can actually produce
Yeah.
in. Well, interesting line of thought. And now I know that you're featured on various platforms like here before. You've been here
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
and 3K TV. Now, how did these opportunities come about, and what have you aimed as an individual, of course, to convey to audiences about urban farming?
So first of all, I got this because I got the opportunities because of consistency. I used to post every day, 5 times a day, consistency and patience, because farming is a game of experience. So experience is the best teacher. The more I got knowledge, the more I could actually get appreciated by people. So that's when I got a feature on ZTN Prime and 3K TV. So getting those features, I had to now change the mindset, because we're saying that we need to change the mindset of people whereby farming is actually a business. That's why people nowadays, they call themselves agripreneurs. So being given that platform, I actually saw that, no, let me maximize the opportunity I've been given, and then we train people for free in Belvedere these farming techniques. So we specialize in organic farming because people have been very health conscious, and we also farm on digital farming techniques whereby people can now farm on your phone. So when saying that food no. This is now 2025. You now need to do it with your phone.
We now need to do it with your phone, and that brings me, okay, so you've been on ZTM Prime, you've been on 3K TV, and now you're back.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that people are health conscious, so organic farming is the way to go.
Yes.
Especially if you want to take care of the needs of those people. And farming has always been maybe associated, or rather perceived, as something that is very laborious. You need laborers to assist you, and you are telling me that you can no, we can do away with that. Just to need your phone. You are a digital farmer.
Yes.
Now I want you to tell me more on the use of artificial intelligence, organic farming. How does then technology play a role in modern urban farming? Maybe if you can be more elaborate on that.
All right, so we're saying that we have a pen fattening project in Belvedere. This means that we have cows. So these cows can actually break through the paddocks sometimes, especially when they're young ones, they're getting weaned. So they go wild. So which means that they can break the paddock, you see them in Blair Road. So you actually need a motion sensor or a tracker whereby it will tell you the movement of your cows. So we're saying that now in 2025, we're always looking down. So the moment you're going to receive a message that, no, your cows are now at a certain point, now you can go and take them. So instead of putting maybe 5 people on duty, right, you have reduced the labor cost to 1 person can execute the job. So on artificial intelligence, we're saying that it has data-driven insights whereby it can predict the future. This means that your planning and your budgeting is now precise. This is now precision agriculture. It will now give you tips on how to go in organic ways instead of using synthetic fibers and synthetic materials in farming, because people want to live very long. So how do you do it? You use artificial intelligence. I would like to call it awesome intelligence, since we have NI, natural intelligence. Yeah.
Right. So you talked to me about artificial intelligence, me being able to maybe control, manage, and know what is happening to my cows while I'm in Masringo and my cows are in Marondera.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me. Now, does that not come at a hefty price?
So the way we've structured it, people think it's very expensive. But we, as my platform, Gilbert Agri Digital, we've managed to reduce the cost of these type of machines, because we want everyone to access all these materials, and that's what we want the future to be. So we're aiming that by the end of 2028, we would have made a lot of machines whereby we reduce the wastage of resources and we maximize profit using a little money in the investment.
Talking about organic farming.
Yes.
You alluded to the use of synthetic materials, but these are materials that sometimes we get recommendations from the domains.
Yeah.
They recommend that, okay, if you're planting cabbage, go and get this chemical, spray it, and what. These are the synthetics.
Yes.
Now, of course, there's a difference, the synthetics and the organic way. But maybe now, because I'm in the urban areas, for me to have the organic way of doing my farming, I need to, I don't have access to the raw materials.
Yeah.
And because I'm in an urban setup, so which means I'll be forced to go and get the synthetics. Now, how then do we, because of course we do agree that
Yes.
the organic products are better.
Yeah.
But the fact that you are an urban farmer, the fact that we're in the urban areas, they're not maybe as accessible. You find them in the farms, you find them in the rural areas. So my question to you is now, if I'm the urban farmer and I want to do organic farming, how do I do it? Will that not be expensive for me?
At a certain point, we have what we call trainings and workshops. So if you attend these, you get to know all the information that's currently happening. So we're saying that as a farmer, you have to be in a space where there are other farmers so that you know what's happening. So this is a trick I'm going to tell people. So instead of using a lot of chemicals in our vegetables, right, you can actually go to the tobacco flows, right, magune forjiga, the waste of tobacco. If you put that in your garden, when you water it, it uplifts a smell that chases away aphids. So instead of using synthetic material, you can actually do this and use that. So where can you get that information? Basic tool, WhatsApp, Meta. If you ask Meta how to do stuff in an organic way, it will actually tell you. So it's not always that we're going to see our Mdumenis, because our Mdumeni is actually on the phone. So for example, there's an application called Sydney for Seedco. You can actually ask it a question, then it gives you an answer. So there are now ways whereby we can now adapt to these organic farming
So you
techniques.
can actually ask this application
Yes.
any question.
Any question.
In English.
English, Shona.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Says that go varakumusha,
Yeah. Exactly.
and can get a response.
Yeah, so the problem is now we now need to host educational campaigns whereby we go and communicate with farmers and tell them what's actually happening the new way. Because in the society of chronists and laggards, people that are slow to change and people that are resistant to change. So that's the mindset we need to shift from a young age, from maybe as little as grade 2. We told them that farming is not an old man's job. There are now new farming techniques showing that farming can be sexy and fun. So yeah, that's the way to go.
Right. Of course, what I want to ask you about, of course, you've traveled quite some journey. Now that you're a digital farmer in an urban setup now, what challenges have you faced in managing your agricultural projects, and more importantly, how did you overcome them?
So first of all, the challenges I faced, when you're farming in urban areas, you're bound to have theft. They're thieves. So you tend to see then they come ovaba. That's the first one. Then the second one is that you're farming. We have cattle and we have horticulture and cereal crops. So that's diversified farming. At some point, animals may go wild. Then the next morning, you see them eating the crops. So this means that you need tight security. Then the other problem is that people will not actually buy from the farm. People want to get delivered from the farm. Since people want it very, very convenient. So maybe at people who are like, especially horticulture crops, who are hunting and mazi, so like madomas. So if I'm going to show you a picture, and when the tomatoes are still on the rootstocks, and then when I'm going to bring it to you, it's going to be different because we have cut off its life. So people are like, no, I'm chatting in Mariagat. So how did I overcome the challenges? We then chose a different type of horticulture, Chinese horticulture. We brought China into Zimbabwe because we can see that the Chinese community is increasing in Zimbabwe. So what we do, they come and collect at the farm. So we're not going to remove anything from the farm. They're going to come, then we put it on scale, they give us our cash. Then on the animals, we've improved our paddocking systems, whereby we can actually know that when we are going to wean our cows, they're not going to go wild, or the feeding systems are actually adequate, whereby the cows won't feel like, no, so we have a 4-way paddock system that's controlled. That's the way we have tried to control the farming system in Harare.
Right. There is talk of that farming, for you to be a farmer, you have to be a hard worker. Now you're coming in with artificial intelligence that is coming in maybe to help. Does that take away the hard work aspect, or you still very much need to be a hard worker, but you can, of course, lessen some of the work with the use of artificial intelligence?
So it's a 50-50 situation, because when you're going to be using technology in farming, the hard work is going to come on implementing it. So the initial input you're going to use there, because it's all about research, not all the technology is going to work at the time. So it's hard work, but in a different way than people used to do it bad. But at the same time, agriculture is a practical job. You have to do the practical thing. You're not going to dodge that stage. So it actually depends on the type of production that you have. And let's just say that artificial intelligence and technology is there to lessen the burden of other enterprises that you have on the farm.
Right. My brother, it's been great having a conversation with you, and all the best, of course, in your endeavors in the future. And of course, like a person like me, I actually didn't know about some of the things that you're telling me about, and I'm pretty sure quite a number of viewers were not aware of that. You can actually, do your farming in, an urban setup, and the use of technology through, of course, your phone, you can actually be able to manage some of your agricultural projects. Thank you so much, my brother, and all the best in your future endeavors. I know that you do have quite a number of aspirations of where it is that you aspire to be, and maybe in years to come.